We are going to bring in our next guest, Michael Fournier. He is the mayor for the fine city of Royal Oak. We are going to be joined with you via phone because you're having a few internet issues, which we have all experienced.
Yeah, good morning, Ronnie. Yeah, I got three kids here at home, and I think with all the video streaming, our bandwidth may be a little thin today. It seems a little slow the last couple of days, so I appreciate the accommodation.
Oh, no problem whatsoever. But I will say, Mayor, everyone has pretty much felt your pain right now, right?
Yeah, it's certainly been a change for all of us. I can't think of anybody that hasn't been impacted over the last year, and folks, I think, are ready to redefine what normal is and get back to it.
We are, but also I think the one thing that's come out of this is talking about the importance of technology and what it means for our day-to-day life. Because I think going forward, we are going to look at internet the same as we look and think about electricity and water. It's really a vital utility for so many families right now.
Absolutely, and that really kind of, a conversation we need to have as society is, the equity, the social equity that comes with access to the internet and with information. Certainly, in the beginning of this pandemic, we saw, the haves, the school districts and businesses and workplaces and homes that had access to internet. They could start to manage through things, and for unfortunately for kids that don't have access for internet at home, we saw them sort of left out of the race, so to speak. So it's certainly, I agree with you. This is something that is just like water, just like electricity. I mean, I think we should value knowledge, good knowledge and access to knowledge just as much as we should value access to good water and power.
So much so. And let's hope there are some positives that come out of this crisis, which there often are, and that is going to be one of them. But with that, tell us about some of the latest things going on in your fine city.
Yeah, so Royal Oak is clearly a vibrant town and community, and I will say, our economy really doesn't center around the internet. We have a vibrant dining scene. We have theaters, comedy shows. We have a number of events, and so COVID really hit us hard in a lot of regards. Not just in terms of, I should say, in an economic sense, but really, I mean, living here. If you're a resident of Royal Oak, I mean, this is why we love living here. We love getting out and about. We love going for walks. We love seeing our neighbors and seeing what new is going on in town. I see you had Paul on just before. Walking to the theaters. Watching a movie, having dinner. I mean, this is ingrained in us as a culture here in our community. And so, for us, this has been, a significant impact. We've leveraged creativity. We've leveraged the framework that we have and relationships that we have. We've reached out to restaurants. We've done our very best to figure out, how we can help people be successful in this environment. And so if you drive around town, you'll see everything from the pop-up igloos and we've carved off parts of the streets to expand outdoor dining. We've done the Royal Oak Downtown Dollars, where we match, purchases so you can spend more money in the downtown. We've offered free parking. You go down the checklist. We've worked really closely with our retailers, our restaurateurs, and office buildings to figure out what we can do to, make help us get through this challenge. And I think you're right. We've learned a lot that just doesn't, resonate during these times. But when we come out of this, when we have better days, I think we've learned a few things about ourselves, and we've learned a little bit about, how we can make our community even better down the road. So we're trying to find positive or a silver lining in all of this.
But your city, as you were saying, it is a destination place, not just for those that live there, but for those in the surrounding communities. For me, your farmers market used to be the go-to place on Saturday mornings. But during the pandemic, I hate to admit that I've avoided it. And it's one thing, it's the parking because of all the construction downtown right now, but also the vendors aren't there like they once were because there's a supply issue as well. How do little things like that impact your bottom line when it comes to the budget?
Well, I mean, for this year, I mean, we've been fortunate enough to have a fund balance. So even though I used to think I was younger, but now I feel like I'm older. But we've been around. I've been around myself and some of the crew for almost a decade now, and we inherited pretty much, a budget that was a little bit in turmoil out of the last Great Recession, and we've been able to accumulate a very, very strong fund balance over the years. Even last year, there were folks that wanted to, give that money back or spend it frivolously on things. And we said, no, we got to save this for a rainy day. And lo and behold, we had a rainy day. So from a budget short-term perspective, certainly we have the funding and cash there to help us get through this. We've had some support, obviously, from some of the federal and state and county programs. Much credit to the county. They've been very supportive. But from an overall point of view, I mean, from a top line, property values continue to be strong here. Our one question was state shared revenue. And I think we have a plan moving forward next year, but the year after, I mean, a big part of municipal revenues do come from the state. So the health of the state is really going to determine the health of cities, including ours, moving forward. But we're doing okay right now. We've managed it. We predicted we'd have a rainy day, and we don't have to cut services at this point. So we're in a very fortunate position.
Yeah, have you been surprised, Mayor, too, about the housing market right now? It is a great housing market for the suburbs.
It's hard. You talk to obviously, as mayor, I talk to a number of different folks and with experiences and interests and careers, and you talk to a lot of the real estate interests, and it really seems to be remarkable what's going on. There is a limited supply. I do know in Royal Oak, and I don't know that that's much different from many other communities in the area or across the country, but certainly it's shocking to me. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to still be employed full time, because the mayor thing it's not a full time job. It's more of a volunteer position. And yet, I mean, not that we're cutting back, but we're being very careful about, our dollars. We don't know if my wife or I will have a job, next month, next year, or whatever. I mean, these are certainly uncertain times, but, the market is really, really strong. And I think a testament to that is, some of the things in this area, a lot of communities, but I'll talk to Royal Oak. I mean, we've really built a community. Coming out of the last recession, Royal Oak used to be sort of a starter community. But we've really found a pathway to be inclusive of all demographics here. We want this to be a place where people can age in place. We want this to be a place where families can enjoy. It's not just about the downtown. We've invested in our parks. We've invested in our amenities. And I think what you're seeing is just people are waking up and they're saying, nothing against the outer ring suburbs, but, why do I want to commute an hour and a half to work every day or an hour to work every day? I can live in Royal Oak. I'm close to everything I need. I got everything that I could ever want, and I can really build a good life here. And so I think we're seeing some just natural demand for the quality of the resurgence of these inner ring suburbs, especially in the Metro Detroit area.
And so because of where we are right now, and also it looks like so many businesses are going to change their operating model and allowing people to work from home a lot more so, which is also kind of driving that housing change. Do you think there will be more attention made there in the city of Royal Oak from that downtown business area into the neighborhoods and the parks and other amenities?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is going to be some change, and I think we sort of saw some of that happening anyways, prior to this. I mean, certainly as a city, we've learned that we can do a lot of things, online or not having to have every employee in person. That's just with old style government work. I think what you'll see is, I mean, you have this longing for people to still get together. I mean, that's what we hear. People like, let's get this over, let's go out. And I don't see that changing in the professional environment dramatically, especially for the creative, type businesses, which is what Royal Oak has really attracted. When I mean creative, like marketing firms, investment banks, things of this nature, where people have to be together, they have to collaborate. What I do see, though, is maybe they're not, it's more flexible time. They're not in the office all day, and they're spending that time maybe, now they have time to go out to lunch. They have time to go visit our brand new Normandy Oaks Park or the new downtown Centennial Park that we have. Maybe take their kids to the splash pad, whatever it may be. I definitely see people rethinking their priorities in life and rethinking how they do work. And I think this is certainly going to mean that, we got to continue to move forward and make sure we're accommodating those lifestyles to keep, the number one thing is public health and safety. And part of that is making sure you enjoy life. That's a big element of mental health and everything else. I mean, that's why we're here, right? I do see some changes, but fortunately for Royal Oak, I think the types of workers or Class A office space we've been able to attract over the last few years really portends itself to, a continuation of folks coming to town, eating. We have the new Henry Ford Health System opening up. That's going to bring like 200,000 visitors to downtown every year. We got a lot going for us, fortunately. By luck or, of course, if it's an election year, by the immense wisdom that, we've had.
and so with that, even though we are in the middle of a pandemic, it's not stopping the progress, as you just mentioned, and the big news about Baker College coming to the city of Royal Oak. How do you think of that investment in that college is going to reshape or redefine or even just influence the Royal Oak area?
Well, I think it really adds to, what OCC has been doing for decades, right? That Royal Oak is certainly a centrally located place. It's a desirable place. I mean, I think even for any campus, whether it's OCC or Baker College, having that Royal Oak name, I think is, I don't know how academic nonprofit institutions market that well, but I'm sure it provides, a number of different benefits for attracting and retaining faculty and students. I think certainly it's gonna help. People will come to school, they'll learn, they'll see Royal Oak, they'll have touch points, they'll come from all across the geographic area. I think in the short term, they might grab a coffee, a beer after class, maybe some food, maybe buy some gifts for their spouse or kids. Great. But I think in the long run, what people do when they come to a college for 2 or 3 years or 4 years, they start to build a relationship with the community that they're learning in. And I think in the long term, these folks, as they live in and around the Detroit area, they'll become more comfortable and maybe even move here, start their roots here, raise their families here. And so I think the tradition that we've had for decades of having an academic institution here, I think is only enhanced by, the arrival of Baker College as well.
So with that, what is the status right now of that project? Like I think it's called the Civic Center project, because I know the police department is moving and that whole square is really kind of being reimagined and redesigned. What's the status of that and how did the pandemic impact the progress?
Yeah, so the current status is we got the police moved into the new building, which has been amazing. I don't know if you've ever been to our old police station, but I mean, it was built in an era and a time. I mean, it was advertising in the opening pamphlet. We found one tucked away from like the early 60s that said, with asbestos flooring and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, wow, this is a great thing to market. And it really wasn't set up for modern day policing. And I think, our officers do a fantastic job here in this community. And I think that, one, they're owed, safe and healthy work environments, but also so that they can do their job the best that they can. And so this building not only saves us money in the long run, by being energy efficient and whatnot, but it also, provides and accommodates a new policing opportunity that for the modern era. So we have the police department moved in. City Hall we've moved into City Hall a number of months ago. So what we're going to do now is we're going to raise the old police station and City Hall. We're moving forward with the Centennial Park this year, so we'll get the park mostly done this year. Probably won't be fully ready until the spring of next year. And so the project will be completed by then. So there have been a couple setbacks with construction and things of that nature that the pandemic has brought on. But fortunately, there hasn't been, significant impacts as a result. Construction crews can still work outside. It's been a little slower because they had to accommodate for certain provisions. But, we're chugging along, we're slowing along, and we're getting the project done.
I will say,
almost on time and under budget.
Those are two good things. Even almost, I think, under budget are words that people or taxpayers really like to hear as well. I can say I've been in that police department numerous times, and I'll just say it was a dump.
Yeah.
It was, you know, so it's great to have them in a new building. And it's like you said, this wasn't just about putting them in a nice new building, but it was about policing and how they're able to police. Because I remember even going in it, like your cell phone, you'd be, you know, it's like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Because just parts of some of these older buildings as well. So it's great to see that. So with that, anything else going on there in Royal Oak that you want to share with us before we say goodbye to you today?
Well, we just look forward to hosting everyone back to our town this summer. I mean, we got to hold tight. We got to hold the line here and get through everyone getting their vaccinations and getting to a point where, not just where it's legally permissible to do the things we love to do, but that, people feel psychologically comfortable to come out and enjoy everything that our community has to offer. We got some really cool stuff planned this summer. It is our 100-year anniversary as a city. So I ask people to check and look at some of the cool things that we'll be doing when it's safe. And, we're just, we look forward to hosting everyone and seeing all the new things. It's not just, the big projects you hear about. We have a lot of new and interesting small businesses that are offering new things, but also new businesses coming to town every day. And we just encourage people to come out and come see us.
So we are, close to Valentine's Day, and I know that Royal Oak is a big destination place for couples and for dinner. If someone hasn't been there in a few months, what will they notice different about that downtown area?
I think you'll notice, just like with anything, there's been some transition in restaurants. I think, first of all, you'll notice parking in our parking garage is easy, it's clean, it's free right now. So,
free?
Everyone looks for that.
Wait. Did you say free? Free?
Yeah, first 2 hours are free for sure. Come on in and park, and you don't have to worry about the snow getting on your car. They're well lit. Our garages are conveniently located near all the restaurants. In fact, you'll probably walk less if you park in a garage versus trying to drive around and find. You won't fight with your spouse looking for a parking spot if you just go straight to the. So it already starts Valentine's Day off on a great note. But we have, our restaurants always do features and specials, and you'll find unique, non-corporate environments. I mean, one, Chef Johnny, he's opened up Alchemy, and that is a new restaurant. We went from Mr. B's kind of pizza and burgers to something really creative and artistic. And, that's just one example of how you may see some changes, same owners, but different changes to menu to really, accommodate, a new path forward. So we have a lot of traditional favorites, and we got some new restaurants and new concepts popping up as well that should be of interest to people.
Well, Mr. Mayor, it's great to have you with us. And I want to say, as someone who's paid well more than my share of parking tickets there in your fine city, I'm happy to hear that word, free parking, at least for the first couple of hours. But thank you for taking time to be with us. We so appreciate it.
Thanks, Ronnie. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Michael Fournier with us here on the MegaCast. He's the mayor for the city of Royal Oak. If you haven't been there due to the pandemic, go by and check it out, because it's just as the mayor had said, they have a lot of traditional things, but also some new things as well. And if you are looking for a gift for your sweetie ahead of the Valentine's Day, they have so many unique shops. So you don't have to go corporate. Don't order anything from Amazon. Get in your car, go to Royal Oak, support local, and find yourself your significant other a gift that will mean something to them.